Ladies and gentlemen, today I brought the best, the boomerest of mobos. How are you doing, Mobile Gamer?
What's up? How's it going, Casey?
It's another good day, man. It's been, man, since we had a collab, but we basically have red stars coming to Raid Shadow Legends. And if you don't know, Mr. Trevor over here, the man himself, the legend, is a Marvel Strike Force player. And what, you're probably one of the only guys left over there in Marvel Strike Force from what I hear?
Oh, there's a bunch of us, but red stars, if you guys are getting red stars, it's been one of the most controversial yet profitable mechanic in the history of Marvel Strike Force. I mean, it seems like something that I don't even think came from Marvel Strike Force. I think it originally came from Marvel Future Revolution or Marvel Future Fight, rather.
Future Fight, right? So,
yeah.
Well, why don't you break down just real quick for the people that don't know? Then I'm going to break down what you're looking at, and you can kind of compare and contrast for us what the Red Star system is in Marvel Strike Force and how it's sort of impacted the game as time has gone on.
Okay, so what it is, it's a random orb. Let's say they cost like $1 or $2. I think they initially they were about $2 a piece. I mean, that's just like the average price, and you get anywhere from 1 to 7 stars. Now, you have gold stars, right? 1 through 7 gold stars, right? But if you have a 7 red, you can only use that on a 7 yellow star. So you have to have the underlying stars to get the red stars to kick in, and it is a raw stat increase. And it 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of useless. 5 is where it kind of kicks in good. You know, you're getting like 30% stat boost. 60% stat boost on it. I mean, it's just raw stats, no effort on the developer's part. Vital to have, and they don't let you incrementally go from like 1 to 2. Like, you can't take, if you have a 1 star, you can't upgrade to 2. You need to pull another 2. You know what I mean? Like,
you have to pull the thing to make the hero upgrade.
Yeah, you can't. It doesn't. Nothing stacks up. Nothing adds up. So if you have a 5 red, the only way you can get upgrade, and a 5 red is a 1% drop. Let's say, like, you have a 1% chance drop of getting a 5 red, and a 6 is like 1 in 400 maybe, and then a 7 is like 1 in 2,000. Like, they just don't exist naturally, right? It's just like, it is bonkers. And a 4 would be like a 9% drop. Let's say I'm just pulling stats out of my head,
right?
But I know that loosely that this information is accurate. And so let's say you have a 5 red, which was a 1% drop, and you pull another 4 or another 5, nothing. I mean, they have a small pity system, but it doesn't upgrade your character unless you actually pull a 6 or actually pull a 7. And then there's this small pity system, and then that gets increasingly worse and worse and worse. You save up for 2 years, and you finally get to pull a 7 red, and you pull a minion or something garbage, and you just want to throw your phone out the window.
Would it be fair to say that one of the largest issues with the Red Star system is the mass increase of stats?
It's how important they are without without any agency. Virtually, I mean, there's a small pity system on the back end, but there's virtually no agency. And then when the new characters come out, they give boosted drop rates on the new characters, so you're constantly dumping money into red stars. So every time there's a new character.
This is where I'm going to compare and contrast for you, so you know what you're looking at, and we can compare this to Raid. So now that you've heard how Marvel Strike Force works, and for the people that don't know, he's talking about orbs and all that, they're basically shards. You have to collect shards of a hero, max them out, then you have the hero, basically is how that game works. And then when you pull shards to try to get basically the hero again, only this time the powered up version of them, the Red Star version once they're maxed out. That's essentially how it works. How it works in Raid is we have a duplicate system coming to the game where there's about 400 heroes. To pull a legendary out of a normal shard, it's a 0.5% chance during normal rates, okay? When you get
0.5, so that's 1 in 200 or something ridiculous.
Approximately, and there's a pity at about 220 shards. There is a pity, so you guarantee the legendary. You're not guaranteed a specific one, but you're guaranteed the legendary. Okay,
got it.
Now keep in mind, out of all legendaries in the game, there's just over 100, I think, or maybe like 90, something like that. Again, I'm pulling numbers out of my head, much like you here to get to the point. Now, when you pull one of those legendaries, if you pull a legendary you already have, you have 3 options you can do with them. Okay, the first option you can do is delete them, and you get a token. And at a certain number of tokens, you can buy another hero. Okay. which we don't know the pricing yet. So that's speculation.
So if you pull the garbagey of garbagey legendaries, you can convert that for 1/10 of something more promising, right?
Right. There you go. So that's the one that people are like, okay, we're kind of excited by this, right?
Okay, that's not actually super terrible, right?
No,
not all legendaries can be good, right?
Yeah, not they're all good, but the problem is you have to have a duplicate, you have to choose to get rid of one, basically. So here's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so now there's cat's trying to interrupt the collab. So there's that. Then there's another system that's still not this system, which is a memory matching game where you take two of the same legendary and you don't have to crunch them. You don't have to do it. You just put them in a block and it unlocks 10% attack, which unlocks the next spot, which is 10% defense, and then 10% HP, then then accuracy and resistance, and then it's speed. Okay, and you have to lock them out in a row. And what that does is you take any legendaries from a faction, and think of it like, X-Men or villains or whatever. Okay. You put them from a faction, you put them in there as the legendaries, and if you have that many duplicate legendaries in only that faction, then you get the bonus stats for legendaries. Same thing you have to do with epics and then rares too. Okay.
So let me see. Let's just use Jedi so I understand. So like you pull a duplicate Jedi, and then you could get 10% health or attack. I don't know which
or
one
whatever. Yeah, it goes attack, defense, HP, resistance.
You get 10% attack on all of your Jedi.
All of your legendary Jedi. But if it's an epic Jedi, then you get 10% all the epic Jedi. If it's a rare, then rare, like that, okay?
Actually, that's not terrible either.
It's not terrible either. People like that idea also. The problem with that, though, is you have to have them in pairs, right? So like 3 kind of does nothing, but you have to have them in pairs. So then look at this, right? So here, this is the one that people are complaining about. The other ones are kind of people were whatever, a little bit of stats, probably not going to change anything. Here's the empowerment, okay? So what you're looking at here, this is in Russian, and Russian leaked it the first here. This is when you go from base stats to you crunch one of the duplicates in. You get 10% across the board in stats, then you get 15 accuracy and resistance. Accuracy and resistance are exactly what you would think they are, debuffs and landing buffs, okay? In PvP, and I don't know how it is in top-end Marvel Strike Force, but PvP is all accuracy, resistance, and speed. It has to do who's going to land the debuffs and go first is how it works in Arena.
So this is a duplicate, and it won't affect the faction. It'll only affect
only the one champion,
the one character.
This is red stars for that champion, right? So the first red star gives you this. The second red star gives you an additional this. This isn't the total. This is in addition. Okay, you get another 10% plus another 10, and then you get 10 speed. Yeah. Then the next one, you get another 10%. Then it's 20 more accuracy and resistance. The final one is 10% more than 10 plus 10, then 5 more speed. And then the fourth and final one, so you have basically 5 of the champions to get to the final one total, is 30% crit damage and 10% crit rate, which are the stats that people use in this game more than anything to one-shot stuff. So damage, speed, accuracy, resistance, and 40% stats across the board before you even count in the other systems we've talked about.
So this is beyond Kraken-y. I mean, you're lucky to get one legendary, right? You said it was 1 in 200, let alone
220.
5 duplicates or 6 duplicates on the same character, and then you still need duplicates on your faction you're going to want to have duplicates on your faction also, right? On the garbage, like there's probably a quality Jedi and a garbage Jedi, and the garbage Jedi
most are garbage. There's only there's only a few good,
Yeah, you're gonna crunch them into the faction, let's say, and then your legendary one that you use in your arenas, and you're definitely gonna want to do this. I don't know. It's not red stars. I wouldn't say red stars.
Okay, tell me how it's different.
Very. Okay, so this is just straight duplicates, right, of characters
of the legendaries.
Yeah. The red stars is it's not even close to this. It's very different, actually.
Better or worse? What would you rather do? Have to pull the duplicate legendary, or be able to pull for the red stars to get red stars?
Okay, so I just got to give you my gut reaction to the system. Okay. Of course, this is super Kraken-y, right? I'm sure. Like, how much does a shard cost? I mean,
I'll put it this way: my main account, I've spent $16,000, and I got content creator perks for a while, and I will have one champion that can go to +5 and 0 factions that can be maxed out.
Okay. Yeah, so when I first see the system, is like, okay, this is going to be a new system they bring into the game, and people are going to drop 40 grand, boom, like people that haven't spent, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking
somebody's just going to spend 10 grand on this and do it. And then what's going to happen 6 months from now is that they're going to like turn on the fountain of the availability of whatever that initial shard was, and you're going to be pulling, 10 times as much or 5 times as much And you know what I'm saying? That's
Let me
my
throw
gut
in.
feeling.
Let me throw
That's
in
my gut feeling, though.
one other mix for you in the equation.
Okay.
They have these events that aren't very popular right now called 10x events, which a targeted champion, you can pull at 10 times the rate. And normally they'll put a good champion in there, okay?
Yeah.
People normally don't do it because they wait for the 2x event, which is twice the double the rates on all shards.
On
so
all shards, right?
You got it. So now you can see what's happening.
So it's going to be more expensive, but you're going to have the higher chance of quadrupling down on one particular type. Yeah, I mean, I think it seems to me whenever, I mean, tell me if your game is like this or your experience with games is like it, but they come out with a new system and it's insanely and they always are trying to create systems that, have this like very steep plateau curve, right? That just takes forever to get maxed out, right? And and they want it to last years, not months. They don't want anybody to be close to getting everything very quickly. They want to make it so that for you to max out your account would cost not $1,000, not $10,000, but maybe $100 or $1 million.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? 100,000 or $1 million bucks, right?
Yeah, 100,000 won't get you close to maxing this game.
Yeah, they want something crazy, and then eventually, for somebody that's patient, after they've fleshed out those mega spenders, right? Because this will bring in a lot of spending, right? And once they flesh them out, they'll slowly over time make the basic resource more available through events or their increased drop rates or the lowest prices. I mean, it's just, do you want to participate in this and spend? Somebody's going to do the math on this and say, hey, yeah, if you want to get the best character in the game, flushed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, or 5 duplicates, it's going to cost X amount of dollars in a 10x event, and then you're going to see what it costs, and people can decide if it's worth it or not. But my goodness, this reminds me more of like Nano Fusion in Marvel Future Revolution.
I could see that. My biggest issue and why I was comparing it to Red Stars is the pure RNG aspect of which hero is going to get it. So you have mass block of stats, 40%, 44, etc. And trying to get one of these maxed out is, I would say, as hard, if not harder, than trying to get a 7 Red Star Marvel Strike Force.
Right.
Well,
so when Red Stars first came out, but see, you could only do it once. Like if you had the best character in the game and you fluke pulled a 7 red on the best character in the game, free to play, which then you had this amazing thing, right? You're talking about somebody that just has to spend a lot of money, a fuck ton of money, frankly.
Yeah, there's no way to do this lucky. Like you can't get lucky to do this.
So the problem with with Red Stars, at least initially when it first came out, was that one random person on your shard could just get lucky, and then they have the best character in the game. Where this is going to take a lot of money one way or another. And
do you think that's good or bad for competitive PvP?
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it depends on where you are. See, competitive PvP, you're either going to have the FOMO and buy into keeping up with the people or not. And I've played games where people are willing to spend tens and tens of $1,000s, and I'm not willing to spend tens of $1,000s. I'll spend $20 a week, $100, whatever. You know what I mean? Like a reasonable amount of money for a hobby, because that's what this is a hobby to me, right? And so, like, for me to budget, like a hobby, which could be anything, right? A hobby could be, I don't know, upgrading your Jeep, right? I don't know what hobbies are, right?
Yeah, I bought a motorcycle.
I had a motorcycle, yeah. So, like, for me, like, for me, and this is just me, for me to put, a couple $100 a month or $400 a month into a hobby is something that I see is like, wow, I spent a lot of time playing this game. It's a hobby. It's something I have passion and I love, fine. But, somebody else is going to, just like in other hobbies, someone's going to be willing to do 10 or 100 times more than you. And that's that. You know what I mean? It's just like, how do you keep
Fair enough.
What are you supposed to do? Well, you just can't. And then, my understanding with Raid Shadow Legends, correct me if I'm wrong, is good percentage of the game is PvE. And a very small is PvP anyways.
This is actually a good point because so me and Kyra Mobile were discussing this the other day. He was more optimistic than I was about this because he's saying, look, here's my opinion. This is just people who don't care at all about PvP are just going to be getting a stat boost, etc. And I agree with that point. My counterpoint, however, to this and why I disagreed in the general concept he was saying about this actually being good for people is that in the PvE, they mix PvP into it. So if you want to do the tournaments where it's like, go kill the dragon the most in your tournament, you're competing against, 50 other players or whatever. The way I see it is if you take a game and you effectively nuke the numbers, like let's just say you blow up everyone's numbers by 100 or whatever, you exaggerate the differences, which will show in the PvE gameplay when it comes to tournaments.
Right. You're 100% correct, and I think that's true in a lot of games, right? What I see on this system is a lot of agency. Like you really actually have three choices on what you want to do.
Yes.
There's trash characters and trash factions, so you convert it into a token where you can build to something that you want later, right?
Yes.
And then there's trash characters in good factions. Fine, then you upgrade the faction. Then you have your god tier characters, right? And then they get the full boost, right? I think that's fantastic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Red Stars Marvel Strike Force is completely random, and we complained about it for a long time, and then they added an elite system and a pity system in some way, and it's better now where you can actually upgrade individual characters. When you get awarded elite credits for duplicates and things like that, but it's still you're getting in a lot of ways you're getting. You get a duplicate and you get an elite credit to get another pull at another random, right? A better random. It's just this. I don't know. I mean, I don't play Raid Shadow Legends, but if this was being introduced to Marvel Strike Force, I would be like, hey, that's pretty cool. I guess. I don't know.
So basically, what happened, and to be fair, that was how all of us felt. Like when the system got announced, they had video showing all of these, but they didn't show the stats. Okay, they didn't show the numbers. They just showed the video.
Oh, and you're just worried about the stats.
The stats.
You're talking about 30 speed, which changes everything, right?
Well, 25 once you have everything maxed out with the other thing. See, the thing is, the way the dupe system works was massively well received. Like everyone was like jerking them about how great it is because you get three options. Like you're saying, you can convert stuff to life tokens.
Yeah.
Even though we don't know the pricing, it seems really good. Shit, legendary suddenly have a use, and then you get you can empower the ones that are good. It seemed to me like we have an answer for everything. Where it's starting to fall apart is when they came out and we saw their speed, crit damage, crit rate, and 40% stats, which is as much as 40% in one is as much as a 4-star piece of gear slot in just one stat, maxed out. So basically, you're having like 2 or 3 extra gear slots by the time it's just insane. People are spending.
Got to give somebody a reason to wail.
Exactly. People are spending thousands of dollars right now for like +3, +4 speed, and you can get up to +25 now.
And so now I can see it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades. So and then the last total is the sum.
Yes.
Now it makes sense to me what you're saying. And then if you do max out a character, you still can do option 1 or 2, right? This is option 3, right?
When you empower them, it gets rid of the hero. So it deletes them into it to empower. Okay. However, the memory matching system, it doesn't delete them. You can just put them in there and you can still use them. It's just free, basically.
Got it. It's interesting. I mean, it's hard for me to know all the nuances of your game.
Yeah.
But because Raid Shadow, I played Raid Shadow Legends.
You're the reason that I even play this game. It's your fault, Boober.
It's my fault. What I'm trying to say is I played it enough to know that I know nothing about the game.
Yeah, which is me with Marvel Strike Force. I put $600 into Marvel Strike Force. I played it for like 2 months and then I quit the game. I had one like three red star hero. So yeah, that's why I had to bring you on. It's like I don't really know.
If they did this, I mean. The other thing too is like Marvel Strike Force, we have an aversion to changing speed where you've always had speed into your they're not called mods, but it's what Galaxy of Heroes calls mods. What do they call the
gear?
Artifacts, gear. Yeah, artifacts, gear. Yeah, so we would freak out if they introduced the Marvel Strike Force, but other than the speed part, I think our community would be okay with this.
It's to be fair, it is the speed part that's mostly the
Yeah,
I think
speed. I mean, specifically in an arena setting, right? Whoever goes. I mean, a turn-based game, whoever goes first wins. I mean, that's just kind of the rules of a turn-based game, right? I mean, or whoever goes the most. It's the alpha stat at the end of the day. In a lot of ways, at least it was in Galaxy of Heroes. It is in Marvel Strike Force.
Well, the last question we'll have then is with Marvel Strike Force having red stars in the game this long, then how is it? Has it ended up all right? Did you guys have a big looting? Is the game okay?
No, they've had the system was not well received when it came out, but yet it does have a surprise mechanic gambling component, which nobody wants to talk about this is kind of fun,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
People like
your
losing
you
money.
talk about dopamine receptors all the time, man. There's
Yeah.
something about, when you pull 100 garbage things and then you pull that one thing and you're like, yes, right? I mean, so I don't care what anybody says. There is something about that, right?
No, it's true. It's true. I log into a game just to spend money and then log out sometimes.
But when you take a step back, you're like, this is garbage. Because it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you take that, if you remove that feeling that when something that good happens, and so they had to introduce a lot of pity systems, and the problem with that is that you can grind away and get one pull after, let's say, like a year, right? And you know what I mean? And it's still random.
And then you get that, and then you get that anti-dopamine,
and then you're just like, it's a pretty horrible system in a lot of ways. I mean, and then then you are like, especially on the 6 reds. So there's a lot of people that have really upset, but it definitely becomes the one thing that has turned out okay in some ways is that the baseline of characters, like it used to have a really steep curve and they kind of flattened the curve out, like the difference between a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they kind of made it a little bit more linear than the 6 and 7's way higher than the 5 and 6 they changed that. And so it became relatively easy to get 4s and 5s. And then the 6 and 7's are special. And you can do that on on the 2 best characters in the game or your favorite character. You can get your favorite character to 6. You can get your favorite 7. There's a path to doing it, but it's super valuable resources, super valuable. And so it's okay-ish. I don't know. But I think
it does sound fairly different. Now, the more you talk about it, the more different it does sound, because it sounds like this is just exaggeration of what you were talking about, the dopamine receptors. This is just straight up gambling. There's not really anything else to it. There's no progression system. It's just you get the hero or you don't. You have the duplicate legendary.
The map on it sounds horrible though. How many there's 100 legendaries, so you have a 1 in 2 chance of pulling 100 things, and you only want 5 of those 100 pulls, right? I don't know. And then I
spent 16 grand when there was half as many heroes as there are now, and probably even less when I spent my 16 grand. And like I said, I only have 1 hero that has 5, and I have no heroes that have 4, and I have like 3 that have 3. Like,
so did I understand that correct? So did I understand that correctly? So you have like a 1 in 200 chance, and then what percentage of those 1 in 200 is something you actually want? Like 5%,
15% maybe.
15% of the time. So
being generous.
The 1 in 200 times you pull something, you have 15% chance of getting something you want, and then you need to do that 4 more times.
And you have to get the same guy again, the same 15% chance.
Oh boy. Get ready. That could be millions. I have no idea how much that costs. That costs.
Yesterday, I literally did Well Wars. People were showing like payment stamps and all that. I mean, we got people who've already spent $100,000 in the game, and they're not ready for the duplicate legendary fusions. You know what I mean? So it's going to literally, it could be $1 million. And I don't think there's anyone in the game. In fact, it's not possible in the game because you just don't even have enough character slots to even be ready to max out your account. It's literally impossible at the moment. So it's all comes down to RNG and dopamine, which is what I think what this game is. And I think you did a good job breaking down the differences between Red Star and all that. So I want to thank you for your time. And go check out Mobilegamer. He obviously does Marvel Strike Force primarily. And you have a second channel that you're starting to check out Star Wars Hunters as well, too, if I remember right.
Yep.
A little bit.
Now, kind of phased away from Marvel Future Revolution. That kind of was a dud, unfortunately. And I'm checking out Star Wars Hunters, a couple different things. Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Go check them out. Thanks so much, my good friend. And we will see you on the next video, everybody. Bye-bye.